Also, people, today we're going to see one of the most amazing things in the pawn endgame, who are the pawn races, when two pawns are going to promote, each one in one side, and let's see how pawn is going to promote first. It's not so easy as it sounds. It's not only count tempos, of course, first we should count tempos, but there are many things like one pawn stopping the other one, the king's helping, the queen's endgame who results after both pawns promotes, if we can trade queens after the promotion, if we can give checkmate, many things. So let's see one more or less clear. Okay, first, in a pawn race, the first thing that we should calculate is just advance the pawn. And black is going to advance his pawn too, so let's see what happens after both sides advance their pawns. Before f5, b5, f4, both pawn promotes. And here can look like it's a draw because, okay, we have a queen endgame with one pawn each side, but here we have this surprise move, queen b5, trading queens, and now again both players are going to advance his own pawn. Black should remove the king, but after both players advance, now when both pawns are of the rook file, one pawn promotion stop the other one. So if we promote first our rook pawn, we can stop the other pawn rook promotion. So I really like this example because it shows many themes. First, show the theme of okay, first we should calculate and what's the theme of trade queens, and then we're watching the theme of our rook pawn stopping the other rook pawn. So okay, let's go for a more complex endgame. Okay, this one is very interesting because black have a plan of capture here, king g2 and king f2. Of course, white king is going to king here, so maybe black cannot take on h2 and he should go DLD for the f2 pawn, and if black make that, white can advance the h pawn to h8. So for example, if king f5 just coming here, now black is not going to capture here because king g4 and king e3, we watched in another video that this is winning for white. So king f5 and black is obligated to king to g2, but now we're going to start a race. h4, king f2, h5, king e3, here, and the pawn promote with check. We should take we should have many care with when the pawn promote with check because it's like a full tempo. So in the pawn race, is try to not put our self king in a square where the opponent's king promote with check. So we should try to avoid the the f file with our king. So let's try, for example, king e5, but here have another problem that, okay, now we leave the f file, but here we have the problem that we are in the same diagonal than our queen. So we should take so much care about this type of text in the full diagonal. So here white is losing because this check takes the queen. So okay, it's logical that we cannot put the king in the same f file because the pawn is going to promote with check. If we put the king in the same diagonal, the queen is coming with check. So the only move that we have is king d5. Black cannot capture on h2, of course, if king e4 and king e3. So here king g2, but now we can start the race. And after black move, for example, h6, here, and black have no annoying checks and anything of that. So the position is a draw. So good defensive move, king d5. Okay, here I like this one too. Because okay, again we have another race where the b pawn is promoting with check, but now it's white turn. So this means that white is, for example, if we just push the pawns without taking care about the kings. For example, if we simply forget the kings, okay, if we just advance pawns, this is a draw because the queen gives checks to the king. The difference is that here white have this extra move, just defending the pawn and winning the game, or just f8 here. But so f4 looks like a natural move, who have one problem, who is king b5, coming to the defense of this pawn and making the draw. So white should make first an important move with king d4, not allowing the black king to defend the pawn. For example, if king b5, now king d5, just stopping the way of the king. There is an interesting line here with king a6, f4, king b7, f5, king c7, king e6, king d8, king f7, and finally we promote with a check. But okay, f5 should be the move that we should calculate. Now it's true that black is promoting first, So we should make something with white. But first, okay, we're going to advance f4, before f5, b3. And I said that if we promote with a check, it's an entire tempo. So it's very, very useful to promote with a check. Here, white is not promoting with check. But we can force the black king to be in a square who we promote with check, with king c3. We are forcing the black king to come to a3, because if not, he cannot advance before b2. So now let's see that the king on e3 is in the same square of the f8 pawn. So okay, it's true that black promote first, but we promote with a check, and we're going to give checkmate to the black king, because if king e2, this is checkmate, and if king e4, we capture the queen, because the king and the queen are in the same file. So when the king is in the rook file, especially, we should have so much care about this type of ideas. And I really like this example because black promote first, and normally the guy who promote first or make the draw or win, but in this exactly position, the guy who promote first loses the game. So I really like this example. Okay, let's see another one. This is very similar than the previous one that we watched. The position of the kings is a little bit different, but the idea is the same. Here, Brown Walter play against Lubojevic 5 and just king b4 as in the previous game, and it's a draw. So king d5 is the winning move. It's the same idea as in the previous one. b4, f5, b5, f4, b3, and here we should place king c6, forcing the white king to go to a6, because after f1 the king is going to be on checkmate. So the position is the same as in the previous exercise. Okay, I like this one too. Black have an extra knight, but the position of queen and knight against a queen is a draw. So with black we should try to make something. For example, if we just move the king to advance the pawn, and white is going to promote the pawn, and this is a draw. But here I recommend you to put this position over the board, or try to think in the screen or where you are watching the video. But okay, I prefer to work in a board. By the way, here black have this extra resource of knight d5. Why we're playing knight d5? To place the white king in the same diagonal of his queen. Because if king d5, now king moves, and with the king on the same diagonal, we're going to lose the queen. If king e6, who is a reasonable attempt, now knight d4 taking the pawn, and if g7, knight d7, and the king is in front of the pawn, and with a rook pawn, sorry, with a knight pawn, or with a central pawn, this position is winning for black. So yeah, I like this example of Stuart conquest. Okay, here we have another position where black is going to capture the h pawn, move the king, and promote. And during the same time, white should try to promote these 2 pawns. White have like 2 plans. One should be move the king, or to c5, or to a5, or to c4, doesn't matter, just move the king and advance these pawns. Or just play king a5, capture, and advance this pawn. For example, king a5, let's count tempos. King a5, now king h5, and now we need 1 tempo, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and black needs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and after both players promote, doesn't seem like black have nothing to, sorry, white have nothing to win. So this position looks like it's a draw. For example, king a6, and this could end in a draw. So here, instead of king c5, we have the other plan is just play king c5 and try to advance these pawns. Okay, if we count the tempos, it's more or less the same. For example, king h5, and now it's 1, 2, let's count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, 4, 5, 6. We can decide between place the pawn on a8 or on b8. And it's 6 tempos as in the other position, but here the difference is that with white we can decide to place the king, to promote the queen, to promote a queen on a8 or on b8, and black is 6 tempos too. But here with b4, king g4, h4, h5, b5, a pawn, now we should decide between promote here and promote here. Which is better? Of course, a5, because from a8 we are defending h1, a5, a6, h3, a7, h2, and a8, and we win the game. An interesting example. Okay, in this other one, black is winning with the extra knight, but he should play accurate. But okay, the idea is very simple. On the winning move, I think that yes, this is a easy position here. Okay, can look like black is winning anyway, but the knight doesn't stop so good the pawn. So for that reason, the best option is just give the knight. Play knight h4, just give the knight, but force white to place the king in front of the pawn. And now we're seeing that this pawn promote first and stop this other pawn. So knight h4 is a easy move. Maybe the player with black think that he can win with any move, but this doesn't work. For example, king d2 and it's a draw. So knight d5, and this is not okay. We can return to f3 to play knight h4, but if we try to make something like this, and this is winning for white, because now sorry, this is a draw, because now this king is so close here, and okay, white pawn is not going to promote, but with the white king so far it's a draw with the rook pawn. So there knight h4 is just winning. Okay, this position is very interesting. Black have 2 extra pawns and white have 2 extra pawns. And okay, the black pawns are a little bit more advanced. There are 1 pawn into the 5th rank and the other one into the 4th rank, and white have both pawns in 4th rank. But here white is winning using both pawns. First, we should start with f5, king c5, and now we cannot still advance in this pawn because black king came to the defense. So we're going to play h5, advancing both pawns. Here, g3, and now important move coming to defend the king e1. Why we play king e1 and not king e3 or king e2? Because if we play king e3, now d4 is coming with a tempo. Or if we play king e2 after d4, d3 is coming with a tempo too. So for that reason, we just want to avoid to defend g1, so we play king e1, because d4 and d3 are not coming with tempos. Okay, it's true that d2 is going to gain with a tempo, but we cannot avoid that. And now we're going to make the same procedure, f6. Okay, black advance, and now f6, king d6, and h6. Black is still advancing, g2, king f2, d3, and now we're going to play f7, king d2, and h7. And black tries to play g1, king captures, and d2. Now black is threatening to promote with check. So for that reason, we cannot promote queen, because black promote queens too with a check. But we have this extra resource of f8, king takes, and pawn takes, pawn promotes, and winning the game. Yes, this is a very interesting example. Okay, this other one is interesting too. Okay, this is a race, so we should calculate c4. The first move that we should calculate are c4 and king takes d6. Looks like two more natural moves. For example, c4, e4, king d6, e3, c5, e2, c6, e1, c7, queen here, and it's a draw. Or if king d6 is the same. But white have an extra resource here with king d5, forcing the black king to move, because okay, we cannot advance e4, and if we doesn't make nothing, we're going to just push the pawn. So black should move his king. For example, king f3 is the most natural move. If king g3, here we have king e4, followed by c4, c5, capture this pawn and make a draw. So black should play king f3, trying to push e4, and now it's time to capture the pawn, just in 2 tempos, but we obligate the black king to go to f3. Let's see that in the other position, the black king on f2, with the black king on f2, here black can win this endgame playing queen here, and then queen g4. But with king d5, king f3 now with the king on f3, after black promotes queen e1, king d7, not c7, because if c7 queen e8, but king d7, great move, avoiding queen e8. Now we're going to push c7 and into next move, entering into a drawish position. And for example, if queen d1, king c8, or king d2, king c8, black have no more checks, white is advancing c7 and drawing the game. So yeah, I really like this example as part of this pawn race. Okay, let's see the last 2 examples. Okay, this one is a different race. This is a race with connected pawns, but in the race is not going to be about promote the pawns. It's more going to be about give checkmate. So here, very important move, king g6, and if he runs, we can make that, and here trade queens, and again black promotes, but finally with checkmate. I really like this plan of first trade a pair of pawns, first black promotes, we trade the queens, and black promotes again, and with checkmate. So after king g6, black can try king g8 in view of the previous one, and now h6, if b3, h7, and white is not going to promote, but we give checkmate, and fc3. There is similar than the other one, with there are checkmate with queen g6. Important here not play king f6 with the same idea of king f7, because here black have king g8 and there is no checkmate here. Now g6 is covered. And okay, and one last example. I really like this one, because okay, white black have two pawns and white only one, but the black king is so far. So with an accurate play, white can play the game. White can win the game. The first move is, for me, is more or less logical. We should play h4, trying to stop these pawns. Because if we start with king f7, just g5 look like black came to the defense. We calculate a little bit. So it's important to first stop g5, playing h4, and now this pawn is closer to the promotion. Here, for example, if h6, now h5, and logical that king f7, king g7 here is coming. And h4, if king b3, we assure count tempos, and we watch that white is winning, because black to defend the endgame should reach these two squares. If black doesn't reach these two squares, and the endgame is winning for white. So here a good counterplay is h5. Against h5, the natural move with king f7, sorry, king f7 doesn't work because g5, and after the race both pawns promote. But here, instead of king f7, we have the extra resource of king f8. Attacking the pawn can look the same, but after the white pawn promotes into the g square, it's going to be check to the white king. So after here, if g5, if g5, we capture and we promote the pawn. So for that reason, black can try g6. We cannot place the king here because this is going to blockade our pawn. If we place the king into f7, it's the same position as previously. The check is this square is covered. So we can play king e7 here, coming to king f6. So black is obligated to finally advance the pawn, and we are going to capture and promote with the queen. So okay, this is the last example of pawn races. In the next video, I'm going to talk more about pawn races, but showing two different themes, the pendulum and the zigzag. So, okay, but I think that you are going to learn many concepts with these two videos of pawn races, so see you in the next one. Bye bye.